Hello friends, it's Kristie Marcotte. In today's video, I'll be using Not Too Shabby's Easy Wonder die set number 2 along with their Patriotic Vibes paper, their Patriotic Pups Ephemera, and also some Patriotic colored enamel dots. Here's a look at the Patriotic Vibes paper pad. This is a 6x6 paper pad, includes 24 sheets. These are double-sided. There are 24 different designs, so you have a really nice variety to select from. There's ginghams, stars, hearts, rainbows, lots of different florals. This set will be perfect for Independence Day cards, Veterans Day cards, or just cards throughout the year with all those lovely florals. I've always been a fan of using patriotic papers, and this is a really fun collection. So many beautiful papers, and look at the fun variety of designs. Now here's a look at the Patriotic Pups Ephemera, and the images work perfectly with the Patriotic Vibes paper. The images are different dog breeds, and they're either wearing an American flag bandana. Some of them have the American flag behind them. A couple of the dogs have blue behind them with white stars. Really fun variety, and I like the different sizes that are included. It's only May, so you have plenty of time to get your Independence Day cards made. For embellishments for some of the cards, I'll be using the Patriotic enamel dots. There are 6 different colors in 3 different sizes, and this set includes 84 pieces. You can purchase the paper and ephemera individually, or you can buy all 3 as a bundle, but I know there are limited quantities on the bundle. In a recent video, I used the Easy Wonder die set number 1 along with the add-on. Today's video will be focusing on the Easy Wonder die set number 2 and also the add-on. The Easy Wonder dies are 1 piece, and they're designed to cut out a 6x6 sheet of paper. You run it through your die machine once and you get all these different pieces. Makes it super easy and fast to create a bunch of cards. I'll be making 2 sets of cards. I selected 5 sheets of pattern paper for each set. So the first set, that top row, is more Patriotic Independence Day papers. And the second set, the floral designs, you could use those throughout the year. I'll be using the second set of papers with the floral designs. So I've already gone ahead and die cut out all 5 sheets. I put the die cut pieces in the large craft stack tray from Spellbinders. I like that the tray includes a lid, that way you don't lose all your crafty pieces. In this video, I'll be making 4 different card designs using the pieces in the tray. For 1 card, I'm only making 1, but for the other 3 designs, I'll be making 5 cards. So I'll start off by grabbing some card bases. Then I'll mix and match some of the die cut pieces, creating those 4 different card designs. You can use pattern paper for the background of the cards, but since the designs are fairly busy, I'll be using cardstock. So I'm trying not to mix too many pattern papers together. The very first card design will be simple, featuring the large frame with the oval cutout and also the sentiment with the cutout word thanks. Before I move on to figure out card design number 2, I almost forgot to bring in the ephemera pieces. So I'll select 1 dog image for each card. And I'm using some of the larger dog images for this first set of cards. And I will be adding other elements to the card, as I mentioned cardstock, but this part that I'm showing right now is just how I figure out the different card designs. Not Too Shabby doesn't restock their Easy Wonder die very often, so if you are interested, you may want to purchase them now. And if you are shopping at Not Too Shabby, be sure to use my discount code Kristie10 to save 10% off your order. And I will put the code in the description box and also a link to the shop. So now let's work on card design number 2. For this design, I'll add the 2 angled pieces, and I'll use the same pattern paper of those 2 angled pieces for each card. I'll add them in opposite corners, and I'll also add the oval die cut. So this is the cutout from the frame I use for card design number 1. It helps to lay out the 5 different cards. That way I can move the different pieces around until I'm happy with how it looks. You could use just 2 or 3 sheets of pattern paper, or you could cut up the entire paper pad. In my video using Easy Wonder die number 1, I use 4 pattern paper sheets. I'll also add the dog images using a slightly smaller size. I don't want it going outside the ovals. I also want to use a variety of different dogs. With the patriotic theme and American flag, I plan on making mostly Independence Day cards and also some Veterans Day cards. I bring cards to the residents at a nearby retirement home, and I'm currently low on Independence Day cards. So after this set of cards, I'll be a little bit closer. You can expect another Independence Day card video coming probably next month. For card design number 3, I first thought I would do vertical cards, but I'm switching it up and making horizontal cards. And all of the cards in this video are American Standard A2 size, 5.5 inches by 4.25 inches. At this point, I have the small stitch square die cut, the word thanks, and also a narrow stitched rectangle die cut. For card design number 3, I'll have the word thanks and the small square die cut. Now I will be cutting out other pieces using the add-on set. I know right now this doesn't look like much, but it will all come together in the end. Trying to pick up these letters and I couldn't get them with my fingers, so I grabbed a pair of reverse tweezers. For card design number 3, I'm not adding any of the dog ephemera images. So the final card design number 4, only making 1 card, and I'm using all 5 of the narrow stitch strip die cuts. I'll also select one of the larger dog images. You can mix and match the different pieces from Easy Wonder Set 1 and 2. I just thought it would be fun to use just the one set and add on and see what different designs I can come up with. So let's go ahead and get started with card design number 1. And this is a very simple card design. I think it's a classic having that oval frame. You could put a sentiment or image on the inside. I'll be adding the image and the sentiment thanks. So I selected the blue tone-on-tone floral frame. I'll add it on a piece of white shimmer cardstock, and that piece is 4 inches by 5.25 inches. Using a small piece of white cardstock and the Easy Wonder die number 2, I cut out that inside stitched oval die cut. You could use just the frame and not add that oval, but I decided to have that extra stitch detail. Now I'll layer the background on some dark blue cardstock, and this piece is A2 size. I'll put ATG tape on the back and add my card front onto a card base. Next, I'll add the sentiment thanks. Instead of cutting out another set of letters, I'm putting a piece of red cardstock on the back. I cut the cardstock piece just a tiny bit smaller than the stitch sentiment frame. I'll put barely art glue on the back, adhere the cardstock piece. Now in the middle of the letter A, you could add that tiny cutout area. But even without that tiny piece inside the letter A, it's still very obvious the word is thanks. Before adhering the sentiment strip, I'll add one of the dog images. I put barely art glue on the back to adhere the ephemera piece, and I have the dog's ears going outside the oval just a tiny bit. Then I'll put glue on the back of the sentiment and adhere it at the bottom of the card. And I am covering up the very bottom edge of the ephemera piece. So there are the 5 finished cards using card design number 1. I will be adding the enamel dots. You can see them in the picture. And I will show that step later. I forgot to do it when I was making the set of cards. So now moving on to card design number 2. The red floral oval is the cutout from the Easy Wonder die number 2, and the blue cardstock oval, I use the add-on set. It's the perfect size for layering. For the background of my card, I have some light blue cardstock from my stash. For a little extra detail, I'm adding some Love from Lizzie peel-offs. This is the pinstripe style in silver. I'll start with the largest width and then add the medium width underneath. I'm using some of the scrap pieces since I will be covering up the very middle with the image, oval, and also sentiment. To help get those strips lined up, I'm using the grid lines on my craft mat. I always end up with some of these small peel-off scraps, but it's always good to save them since you never know when you need just a tiny piece. I'll wrap the ends around the back, then layer this piece on the dark blue cardstock. The light blue piece is 4 inches by 5 1/4 inches, and the blue cardstock layer is an additional 1/8 of an inch. So 4 1/8 of an inch by 5 3/8 of an inch. Then I put ATG tape on the back and added my card front onto a card base, this time leaving 1/8 of an inch of the white card base showing. Now I'll add the 2 angled pieces. Put one in the upper left-hand corner and one in the lower right-hand corner. And I'm trying to get them evenly spaced, leaving the same amount on the right, left side, and also top and bottom. Next, I'll put glue on the back of the ovals and adhere them in the center. So now you can see I covered up that little cutout area that didn't have peel-offs. For a sentiment, I'll be adding Land of the Free, and the stamp and coordinating outline dies are from Jaded Blossom's God Bless America set. Using the outline die, I cut out a second piece. I'll glue the 2 together, offsetting it slightly so you can see just a peek of the blue cardstock underneath the sentiment. The blue ink I use for the sentiment is Catherine Pooler's Suede Shoes. I will be popping up the image and also the sentiment using scrapbook.com's 1/4 inch foam roll in the 1 millimeter thickness. Since I am hand delivering the cards, I could use thicker dimension, but the 1 millimeter foam is my favorite. Behind the sentiment, the very right and left side will go off the oval, so I'll use some slightly thicker foam dimension there. It's a 2 millimeter foam in a narrow foam strip. But behind the main sentiment, the area that sits on the oval, I'm using the 1 millimeter foam. I'll remove the release paper from the dog ephemera piece, add this sweet little poodle inside the floral oval. Then I'll put the sentiment underneath, overlapping just the bottom area of the ephemera piece. So there is my finished card and the other 4 using this design. For this card design, I decided not to add any embellishments. For card design number 3, I'm using the same light blue cardstock for the background. This piece is 5 1/4 inches by 4 inches. And for a little extra detail, I'll first add some Love from Lizzie peel-offs. This is the same pinstripe style in silver. I'm using the widest and the medium width. I'll add both of them at the top of the panel, about 3/8 of an inch from the very top edge. And I'm leaving about 1/8 of an inch between the 2 peel-off strips. I'll wrap the ends around the back, layer this piece on some dark blue cardstock, and that piece is an additional 1/8 of an inch. Put more ATG tape on the back and add my card front onto a card base, leaving 1/8 of an inch of the white card base showing. This is the card design that will feature the small stitch square die cut and the sentiment thanks. I also cut out a larger angled piece, and this die is from the add-on set. I'll start by working on the sentiment. I use blue cardstock for the sentiment frame, and I'll be inlaying the individual letters. On the back side of the blue frame piece, I put some clear double-sided adhesive tape. I'll flip it over and now add each letter. And the letters will only fit one way inside this frame. Even the letter H, sometimes you could reverse it, but not for this set. Now, since I did use pattern paper for the letters, it's white and it has the blue floral design, it is fairly busy. So having that blue solid frame will help them stand out. Now this time I am adding that little inside area of the letter A. Otherwise that area would be sticky from the clear double-sided adhesive tape. And since that piece is super tiny, I picked it up using the wax tip end of Scrapbook.com's Craft Pro Pick tool. Now I'll remove the release paper, add a little bit of glue in the corners where I don't have any tape, and I'll adhere the sentiment underneath the 2 rows of peel-offs. Next I'll add the white angled piece, and I did use some white shimmer cardstock. I'll adhere it slightly on top of the lower area of the thanks frame. Now I'll put the gingham blue square underneath, more on the right side, and in the area where it goes off of that white panel, I'll put a scrap piece of cardstock. That way it stays at the same level. For embellishments, I'm using Love from Lizzie peel-offs. This is the mini circle style in silver. I'm adding 3 large circles underneath that white panel on the left side and 2 small circles on the right side of the sentiment. So there is my finished card, plus the other 4 cards I made using this design. So even though I only have a few pieces of pattern paper, I think this card turned out really fun. If you're like me and have a ton of solid colored cardstock, designs like this are perfect so you can dig through all your cardstock colors. For card design number 4, this is also a very simple card design, basically featuring the 5 narrow strips of pattern paper. I'll add all 5 strips vertically on the card, and I'm putting them at different angles. This is a great card design if all you have left are narrow strips of pattern paper. And adhering them at different angles is perfect if you're not great at getting them nice and straight. 2 of the pieces have more of a blue background, 2 have a white, and then the 1 has red. I'll start with a light blue tone on the left side, then add a white background. This one has the hearts. We'll put the red in the very center, then add another white piece, and then finally the blue tone gingham on the very right side. The light blue cardstock piece is 4 inches by 5 1/4 inches, and I'll layer it on some dark blue cardstock. And that piece is an additional 1/8 of an inch. Now I'll put ATG tape on the back and add my card front onto a card base, leaving 1/8 of an inch of the white card base showing. Next I'll add a large stitched oval die cut, and this is the largest oval from the add-on set. I'll use some white shimmer cardstock. I'll put glue on the back, adhere it in the center, and this is where I'll be adding another dog ephemera piece. I will pop up the ephemera piece using more foam dimension. I grabbed the 1/4 inch foam roll in the 1 millimeter thickness. Made sure to get good coverage on the back. I'll remove the release paper and add the dog image in the center of the oval, leaving a little gap underneath for the sentiment. I've already stamped and cut out the sentiment, Happy Independence Day. And this sentiment and outline die are also part of Jaded Blossom's God Bless America set. On the right and left side, in the area where it goes off of the oval, I will add a small piece of foam, But in the center where it will sit on the oval, I'm adding a small scrap piece of cardstock. Without that piece of cardstock, the very center of the sentiment would sort of dip down. I'll remove the release paper from the foam, put barely art glue behind the very center, and adhere it underneath the dog image. It wasn't until this card that I remembered I haven't been using the enamel dots. So I pulled them out, and this is the first card that gets those pretty enamel dots. I'll put 2 red in the upper left-hand corner and 1 on the left side. And then I'll grab the first card design, add more enamel dots. I don't have enough to add them to every card, but I did want to add them to at least the last card design and the first card design. For this card design, I'm putting 2 enamel dots in the upper right-hand corner and 1 on the left side of the ephemera image. At the beginning of the video, I showed 2 sets of pattern paper, and I used the exact same card designs using those other 5 sheets of pattern paper, and I will show those cards here in a moment. Using Not Too Shabby's Easy Wonder die number 2 and the add-on set, plus 5 sheets of pattern paper, I ended up with 16 cards. I didn't keep track of how much cardstock I used, but it's definitely quite a few pieces. Here's a quick recap of the first 16 cards. Then here's the other set of 16 cards using 5 other sheets of pattern paper from the same Patriotic Vibes collection. I plan on using many of the cards for Independence Day and Veterans Day cards going to retirement home residents. Not Too Shabby's Easy Wonder dies made it super simple to make 32 cards. And I had a lot of fun with this set since I love using patriotic colors. If you are interested in any of the products I used in this video, I do have links in the description box below. And if you are shopping at Not Too Shabby Shop, don't forget to use my code Kristie10 to save 10%. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you have a wonderful day.